I'm not woo, woo. I'm not woo. No one says I'm not woo, woo. I'm not woo, woo. I'm not woo, woo. I'm not.
This is the Higgins Lounge. Oh yeah, it's Friday, November 5th, 2021. And as you can see, I'm all by myself. It is my lounge. So, I could do that if I want to. But anyway, you could follow me on IG, Facebook, Twitter, IG, Higgins.lounge. Facebook, all you got to do is look up Higgins, Higgns. Remember, it's one I, not two. Higgns. Also on Twitter, Higgns. But enough about me. Let's get started, man. So last Thursday, I got to do a bucket list thing and go see the Joe Rogan and Dave Chapelle show, which was a very good experience, even though it was very poorly ran. And I'm going to tell you why. So if you've ever been to any comedy shows, you know they don't want you filming anything. So they have these pouches, these magic pouches that they make you lock your phone up into. But being in this COVID age, right, where everything's digital now, because they don't want you touching everything. They don't want you touching nothing. They wouldn't let you get in with your digital ticket. You want to know why? Because they fucking did it ass backwards. So when you get there, you have to actually walk through the metal detectors, and they ask you to put your phone in the pouch. So when you walk up to the gate to go check in, you can't pull your phone out, so you can't show them the digital ticket. So they made everybody, didn't tell anyone any of this information, probably because they didn't realize they dropped the fucking ball when they did it. Common sense would say, hey, we worried about COVID restrictions, blah, 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 blah. Comedians like their phone in their pouches, these pouches. As soon as they scan the phone and let you in, that's when they go right on ahead and stick it in the pouch and you're right in the door. But no, did they do that? No, they stuck it in the pouch when you got to the gate. They made you turn around, go back. They had people walking up the street to the nearest hotel to find a printer to get it printed out. And because the line at the Ticketmaster window was absurd, because damn near everybody, most people who buy tickets, you buy them online. They have a digital barcode that you use and you walk right in. Nope. So all these people had to turn around and wait in this massive Ticketmaster line to be able to get in the show and get them printed out. So you just imagine what the delay was on the show when that kind of thing happens. When you talk about taking someone's mojo away, come on. They had to remotivate themselves. I hope they brought extra weed, whatever they used to get on stage and cut up and act a fool. But outside of that, it was a good show. And I'm going to tell you, out the gate, hey, one of the questions asked was, who killed it? Well, honestly, Joe Rogan was the best set. Chapelle closed, obviously. But it wasn't polished. I think he just kind of went up there and did his thing because he knew, his name's going to sell it as it is. He just finished a special. He's trending in the news. Which, wink, wink, it's a good time to be trending when you got a big show at the Smoothie King Center. Another thing that I didn't like, too, was the sound. I don't think the Smoothie King Center was very prepared for the show. Because if anybody knows anything about sound, you want people to be in front of speakers, not behind them. So I could say about half the third tier of the Smoothie King Center was behind the speakers. And there was times where I had to ask what he said. What did they say? Because the speakers aren't behind you. Your speakers should be right behind you. They should have a set of... I can't believe the Smoothie King Center don't have a set of speakers going across the ceiling. That doesn't make sense to me. It's almost like they sabotaged. They tried to do everything they can to sabotage that show intentionally. Like they didn't want them there. That could be my conspiracy theorist brain, but hey, but outside of that, man, I mean, it's hard to not have a good time at a comedy show. But I've been to smaller venues, and now I kind of understand what Rogan was saying, you know, on his experience when he talks about doing sets, how they like the small rooms better than they like doing the big events. And the reason why is because the intimate relationship, like you could reach out and touch people a lot better all the way from the front of the room to the back of the room being in a smaller venue. Even though your set's not as polished, but still you're able to connect with those whatever, however 100, 200, rather than having 18,000 people to connect with because they're so far away. So I really do understand that concept of it. I get it, you know, but all in all, I appreciate the fact that they was able to come and give us, you know, a bucket list event. It was a very good show. Shout out to the others who performed also. Tom Segura was there, Donnell Rawlings. And I could never remember the damn opener, even though he was very funny. I can't remember his damn name. Somebody's going to be able to correct me in the comments when this is over. But he does a good job of trolling people in the crowd. Man, comedians can get away with stuff, but understand, it's comedy, bro. Like, if anybody's going to be able to murder cancel culture, it's going to be comedians. Comedians and real artists. Musicians, let people understand it's art. If you have to think about what you're gonna say before you say it, it's a bad restriction to put on an artist. Those things need to go away. And anybody with any common sense can tell a difference between a joke and when someone is actually trying to hurt feelings. But on to the next one. Now, this is something I saw yesterday that kind of blew my mind. And I know people have seen what Mark Zuckerberg has been working on, his next level of Facebook, the Metaverse. And if that's not dystopia to the next degree, I don't know what is. It's the closest thing I've seen to the Matrix since that movie has come out. And what's so weird about this is just recently they had this so-called Facebook whistleblower go out and speak to Congress and talk about more censorship and the dangers of social media on Facebook, and then you turn around and release this augmented reality that you're going to put upon everyone, and it's going as far as being able to work. Like, you're going to be able to work in this metaverse. Companies are going to be able to connect their employees to this metaverse and have them work in this virtual reality. When you talk about it, social media being addictive, this is the next level. Like, plug me in and don't unplug me. I want this juicy steak. That's what this is about. And, you know, don't let me tell you about it. Let Mark explain.
Privacy and safety need to be built into the metaverse from day one. You'll get to decide when you want to be with other people, when you want to block someone from appearing in your space, or when you want to take a break and teleport to a private bubble to be alone. You're going to be able to bring things from the physical world into the metaverse. Almost any type of media that can be represented digitally, photos, videos, art, music, movies, books, games, you name it. Now, lots of things that are physical today, like screens, will just be able to be holograms in the future. You won't need a physical TV. It'll just be a $1 hologram from some high school kid halfway across the world. And you'll be able to take your items and project them into the physical world as holograms in augmented reality too. One part of this is Horizon Home, which is our early vision for a home space in the metaverse. Horizon Home is the first thing that you'll see when you put on your Quest headset. Today, there are already a bunch of options to choose from, and in the future, anyone will be able to create one. We've just called it home until now because it's been missing something very important: people. Soon, we're going to be introducing a social version of home, where you can invite your friends to join you as avatars. You'll be able to hang out, watch videos together, and jump into apps together. Then, there is Horizon Worlds, which is where you can build worlds and jump into them with people. Horizon is designed to make it possible for everyone to create, and we're already seeing people build some really interesting experiences, from creating new games together to throwing surprise parties in VR that family and friends around the world can join. Over the last year and a half, a lot of us who work in offices have gone remote. And while I miss seeing the people I work with, I think remote work is here to stay for a lot of people. So we're going to need better tools to work together. Let's take a look at what working in the metaverse will be like. Imagine if you could be at the office without the commute. You would still have that sense of presence, shared physical space, those chance interactions that make your day all accessible from anywhere. Now imagine that you have your perfect work setup and you can actually do more than you could in your regular work setup. And on top of all that, you can keep wearing your favorite sweatpants. And as we've focused more on work, and frankly, as we've heard your feedback more broadly, we're working on making it so you can log into Quest with an account other than your personal Facebook account. We're starting to test support for work accounts soon, and we're working on making a broader shift here within the next year. I know this is a big deal for a lot of people. Not everyone wants their social media profile linked to all these other experiences, and I get that, especially as the metaverse expands. And I'll share more about that later. But I'm genuinely optimistic about work in the metaverse. We know from the last couple of years that a lot of people can effectively work from anywhere. But hybrid is going to be a lot more complex, when some people are together and others are still remote. So giving everyone the tools to be present, no matter where they are, whether as a hologram sitting next to you in a physical meeting or in a discussion taking place in the metaverse, that's going to be a game changer. I think this could be very positive for our society and economy. Giving people access to jobs in more places, no matter where they live, will be a big deal for spreading opportunity to more people. Dropping our daily commutes will mean less time stuck in traffic and more time doing things that matter. And it'll be good for the environment.
I was just thinking about this. Could you imagine, like right now, people always complain about no one ever conversates at the dinner table anymore. No one ever conversates. No one does anything anymore. You see families and they all got their head in their phone. Could you imagine walking into the living room on Christmas and everybody in the house has got them glasses on their face and they like this? That's how it's going to be going down. That's the next level of technology, trying to pull us further and further from organic lifestyles. And this is just the next level, plugging you into the matrix, bro. Like, I'm tired of wearing these glasses on my face. I'm ready for the Neuralink chip. You know what I'm saying? Well, while we talking about hybrids, I heard you mention the word hybrid. This is a video I've been holding on to for about a month now that I've been wanting to show. Have you ever heard of, about cloning and how the conspiracy about them cloning celebrities and being able to clone human beings and they're cloning animals and this, that, and the other? Well, this video is surfaced of supposedly this may be a animal human hybrid. Now, I don't know what country this is. I don't know what language they speak in, but it's obviously some little creature that was given, that was conceived, or whatever you want to call it, given birth in a farm somewhere, some country. This little ugly thing He's definitely a mutant. He or she or whatever it may be is definitely a mutant. I don't know. You decide.
Borre entonces las oscuras.
Bueno, este es el marranito humano. Lo podemos ver. Tiene cejas de humano, nariz de humano,
Frente, cumbamba.
frente con bamba y dientes.
Venga para acá, papi. Venga para acá, papi. Venga para acá, chiquiflow. Y
So you tell me what you think. Now, it goes back to, do you remember when AJ was on the Rogan Experience and they were talking about animal human hybrids and how the legality of it, why these elites want to create these clones, because since they don't have legal control over human beings, so to say, but if they create a hybrid being, it's not considered a real it's not considered a human being. It's considered some, like, almost like creating a robot. So they'll be able to have full control over everything that it does. That's a sick little animal right there. I don't know. I mean, what does it look like to you? It looked like it had hoof feet, so there's definitely some pig going on in there. But the face, if there was any human being on the planet that mated with that pig to create that thing, who you think he looks like?
Tippy? Tippy for my bunghole?
You tell me. Leave the comments below. Now, let's get a little deeper here. Just this week, the CDC, FDA, they finally approved the jab from children 5 to 11. Well, I don't know if you knew, but San Francisco is the first city that's mandating children to get the jab. Or they won't be able to go to school. They won't be able to go do any leisure activities, basically without showing proof of vaccination. I mean, I can't believe every topic is just dystopian today. Everything is dystopian. There's nothing positive in the news, nothing. And it all revolves around this bullshit, around technology and this fucking vaccine. What's next? You know, the thing about this is like, it's up to us. It's only going to go as far as you let it. You have to bounce back. You have to say no. You have to say no. You have to be civil and disobey this bullshit. These people are insane. They've lost their goddamn mind. They've lost their mind. They're nuts. These people are crazy. And that's why they're trying to perpetuate to everyone and program them to think that domestic terrorism is the biggest threat to America right now. Come on, man. Come on, man. That's a bunch of malarkey right there, bro. And they're in an uproar because Fox journalist, independent. I would consider him as independent as any mainstream journalist could be out there, because he does have freedom of expression. The things that he says, nobody's allowed to say it. But from what I understand is that he's took a huge pay cut to be able to say what he wants. and have his own team create his own content, even though he's using Fox's platform, because he can go independent if he wants to. That's how popular he is. It's like the most popular show on television right now. But anyway, just this week on Fox Nation, he's come up with a new show called Patriot Purge. And it's a 3-part series that's exposing domestic terrorism and how far they're taking this. And how the Department of Homeland Security said that anyone who questions the election questions the vaccine, the COVID-19 protocols, is potential domestic terrorist. Now, I watched all 3. It's a very good. It's a very good depiction of what's going on, and it's something that, I mean, I kind of knew. It makes sense, but he just puts out the evidence. He lays out the evidence to the viewers, and that's why they were in the uproar. Before it even came out, they were shitting on it. They never even saw it yet, but they knew that the truth was going to come out. It's only a matter of time. They wasn't going to be able to hold this back forever, but hats off to him to be able to put this out. And I'm going to show you a clip, just a small, brief clip of the purge. This is from episode 2.
Emily Rainey followed this up with yet another jarring display of extremism. As a private citizen, not in uniform, consistent with her constitutional rights, and in violation of no policy directive, she led a group of middle-aged American homeowners to a rally in support of election integrity.
Regardless of what you've heard, myself and 100 grandmas did not storm the Capitol. We did not see the inside. We didn't take a tour. It was said that I was the architect of the January 6th insurrection. It was said that I led 100 militia to the Capitol with weapons and military equipment. You know, the insinuations were like using my name in the same sentence as Timothy McVeigh. And then that's when the extremist rhetoric started happening. We started to see all of this stuff coming up about the veterans that were in the crowd.
Individuals who have received military training from the best military in the world, and then they turn around and use these very skills to attack the country.
As a psychological operations officer, we may or may not be interested in influencing an insurrection in other countries. If you were going to do that, hypothetically, you wouldn't do that by telling a group of 1 million people to come to the Capitol, peaceably assemble, and just bring your American flags.
We can't be disrespectful.
So if that was an insurrection, it was the most poorly conducted insurrection ever.
If it wasn't an insurrection, then what was it?
Special operations uses the military deception tactic of a false flag abroad against the enemies of America. A false flag is any time you want to frame another group so that you can then take action against that group. It is my opinion that false flags have happened in this country, one of which may have been January 6th.
And DHS says the coming 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks and religious holidays later this year could be catalysts for violence.
Fear is one of the biggest tactics used in psychological operations. So what we're seeing is fear being used to manipulate the military to see millions of Americans as domestic terrorists and to try to just silence people. There is a fear that if you are a conservative and you're in the military, that you will be singled out, that you will be looked at with suspicion, that your clearance may be in question. I'm driving into work and I'm thinking, oh, I might be arrested at the gate. They're saying that I've committed treason and that I'm a domestic terrorist.
We may be witnessing the dawn of a sustained wave of violent insurgency within our own country.
So you're driving around Fort Bragg, you see NRA stickers, come and take it, Gaston flags, you see all of this. When they started to say that extremists were in the military and that those extremists had an interest in the spirit of 1776, you started seeing really poorly scratched out bumper stickers over all of Fort Bragg.
So what she's explaining is basically the same formula for the war on terror is being used step by step, piece by piece, here in the homeland. They've pulled all the troops out of Afghanistan. They brought them all home. I mean, I think we still have some weaponry left, even though they got a big chunk of it over there. But they're trying to turn the country against each other. They're building an army on both sides, even the one that they don't stand for. Because if you're being punched in the mouth over and over and over again, you're gonna punch back. It's either that or die, right? I mean, if you're being attacked, it's a life or death situation, which they feel like they've been attacked because they've been exposed. And you know what's funny is the terrorist threat, right? Anyone who questions the election, questions COVID, or questions 9/11. Why are they related? 20-year difference. Why are they related? Possibly because the same people pushing this agenda is the same people who pushed the war on terrorism the first time. The same people who pushed false flags in 2001 and beyond are the same ones pushing this one. It's scary, it's hard to believe, but I mean, makes sense. Now, if anything, Trump said he drained the swamp. He may have drained the water out the swamp, but he didn't get rid of the reptiles. All he did was they all showed no clothes, and they're coming. This is their last deployment to try to take us down. And they know that's what the whole thing, I've said this before, that's what the whole thing about white supremacy is. How the fuck white people are going to say the biggest threat is white people? Especially one who spoke at the Grand Dragon of the KKK funeral. What the fuck? You don't get that? I mean, the election the other day in Virginia, the guy won the election because the other side was pushing critical race theory. Now they saying it don't exist. Oh, that shit don't exist. That's not real. They won because they're racist policies. That's why. Wait, see, it's the communist playbook, dog.
That's the tail wagging the dog, partner.
If you're guilty of something, you just accuse the other side of being guilty of it and be professional liars. You get away with it. Maybe I've said too much, but I'm sorry. I wanted to go back to these kids. They're trying to force jabs into these kids, and it's coming. It's coming to your doorstep. But I want to show you how asleep, how crazy some people are, how bought in. This is a TikTok video of a woman who's celebrating the fact that it's been approved by the CDC. And if you want to talk about a terrorist, I mean, who's a terrorist? The soccer mom who's speaking up against being treated unfairly, and that their child is considered either oppressed from birth or a racist from birth, when all the kids want to do is just get to lunchtime so those two of different colors can go hang out on the swing set together, goddammit. Check this woman out. So this is her in celebration of the jab being approved for children 5 to 11.
So finally some good news. Kids can get the vaccine 5 and up starting next week. That's great news. And as soon as these guys can get it too, all bets are off. You anti-vaxxers, all bets are off. All bets are off. Yeah, if if I can spread it like unknowingly after that, I'm gonna sneeze on you. A lot of you. A lot of you. All bets are off because we're all done. We're all done with you. So as soon as these guys can be safe, screw the rest of you. Screw the rest of you. Because we're done. We're done.
What the fuck? So she just admitted in that right there. She just admitted that vaccinated people also catch COVID, create COVID, and infect other people, especially unvaccinated people, because they're not immune to the strain that just grew inside their body. She just threatened to take your life. She just threatened to take someone's life. To get you sick. She threatened your life. You know what she just did? She just basically said she's a bioweapon. And she hopes she gets you sick. I don't know what's sicker, COVID-19 or that woman's brain. What the hell is wrong with people? And then hoisting her infant up. Ooh, they Lex, can't wait. Fuck. I'm sorry. On to the mandate. So January 4th is the day that the Biden administration is pushing to vax mandate employers for who have 100 or more employees, which I'm sure you've heard about it. You either have to show proof of vaccination or proof of a negative PCR test. Now, here's my problem. Like, forget the mandate. Let's just break logic down. It's already been admitted and proved by Pfizer, the FDA, the CDC, that vaccinated people are still catching COVID, still giving COVID. They're going to need boosters, blah, 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 blah. Okay? We've got, so check this out. Think about, you're vaccinated, you're on your way to work. You got a cold, right? It's flu season. You're not sneezing all over everybody. You show secure, whoever you got to show that, I'm vaccinated. They allow you into work. The next guy who's not vaccinated shows up, maybe takes a PCR test right there before he goes in. Test positive. Feels great today. He feels full of life. He doesn't feel shit. He feels great. Like, celebrate good times. It's Monday. He's happy to go to work. He's in a good mood. He's a great employee. Never had a flaw. You just let the guy with flu symptoms in, go sit down and probably infect everyone in that motherfucking place when the dude who's celebrating good times on his way to work has to go back home feeling fine for 10 days, whatever it may be, because he tested positive on a PCR test. Let me show you something. This is a video explaining the guy, talks about the guy who invented the PCR test during the AIDS epidemic, pandemic, whatever it may be, whatever you want to call it. They probably changed the definition of that too. And his feelings about Dr. Fauci, who mysteriously died like 2 months before the pandemic started, the COVID-19 pandemic.
Dr. Kary Mullis was awarded the Nobel Prize for his invention of the polymerase chain reaction, the PCR. The PCR is a method of analysis and wasn't designed to test for a virus. Mullis explains why.
And with PCR, if you do it well, you can find almost anything in anybody. It starts making you believe in the sort of Buddhist notion that everything is contained in everything else, right? I mean, because if you can amplify one single molecule up to something that you can really measure, which PCR can do, then there's just very few molecules that you don't have at least one single one of them in your body, okay? So that could be thought of as a misuse of it, just to claim that it's meaningful.
The PCR test can potentially find anything you are looking for, depending on how high you turn it up. And this is exactly what has been done. The official protocol given for the PCR testing of COVID-19 created a floodgate of false positives to skew the results. They call it asymptomatic because it's a lie. These people don't have symptoms because they don't have COVID-19. They do it today because they've done it in the past and always gotten away with it. 30 years ago, Anthony Fauci, head of the NIH, made a name for himself by pushing for higher doses of the deadly drug AZT, an old cancer chemotherapy too dangerous for approval, onto AIDS patients. Kary Mullis was hired to measure HIV in people's blood samples with his PCR. He was working under the premise that HIV was the probable cause of AIDS. But when he went looking for the proof, he found there was none. They just made it up.
What is that paper? Who do I go to for that? And I looked around, I asked a couple of virologists at that company, and they said, no, you don't have to reference. I said, I have to reference that because I don't know where that came from. How do I know that? And it turned out that nobody knew it. And I was getting really freaked about that. That's when I first started saying, they don't know. Nobody really knows. This whole thing is a big sham.
Mullis pointed out how the CDC was losing money and how the HIV-AIDS connection brought their profits back in the black, and how the men at the highest levels were all in on it. Kary Mullis knew these men were dangerous.
They don't want people like me walking up and asking them those kind of questions, and they're willing to go to great lengths to prevent that. They're out on a limb. I wouldn't want to be there with them.
But he was still outspoken. When ABC's Nightline approached him about doing a documentary on his work, Mullis convinced them to cover the HIV debate after nearly a decade of ignoring it. In a 1994 interview with Celia Farber for Spin magazine, Kary Mullis expressed how he really wanted to expose Anthony Fauci and Robert Gallo. He said that he'd be willing to chase the little bastard from his car to his office, a Nobel Prize winner trying to ask a simple question from those who spent $22 billion and killed 100,000 people. It has to be on TV. I'm not unwilling to do something like that. Unfortunately, not many people were listening back then. And on August 7th, 2019, just about 3 months before the first utterance of COVID-19, Kary Mullis, age 74, a Nobel Prize winner, inventor of the PCR test, a man who was once willing and eager to expose Anthony Fauci, quietly died of pneumonia. The timing of it all is mysterious to many of us.
So you've got the maker of the test, that test for the COVID, coming out and basically saying that this test is not a good test to test for diseases, because if you turn it up high enough, we all have some kind of molecule of some virus dormant inside our body. You will find it if you look hard enough. So based on the batch of tests that they make, let's say, we want to ramp up some COVID numbers for the next 3 months and call it a new variant. Crank that motherfucker up. And now you got a bunch of positives of asymptomatic people who aren't really sick. What you think that's going to do to the workplace? I mean, is that logic? So we got the guy who made the test and the guy, Dr. Robert Malone, who actually made the mRNA vaccine, saying this is the wrong weapon of choice for this war. So what do you think? But when you come to grips, none of this makes sense. They fucking with us, right? I'm not gonna say what they trying to do. We've already expressed that. But when you get down to that, when you think about it that way, that's when you realize, oh, that's what's going on. Oh, what the I can't believe, I mean, I wanted to have fun when I made this show. I wanted to be funny. Let's still try to find a way to smile through all of this. You know, we have some fun, but man, these people are nuts. They're sick individuals, bro. They're coming after regular people. Regular people. And they want to give $450,000 to families of illegal immigrants who they feel were wrongly jailed and separated from their family from crossing the border illegally during the Trump administration. Because it was during the Trump administration. Not the ones that, what about all the ones that Obama locked up, separated from his family? Because that's where that protocol really started. But that's another topic for another day. I'll end this on a light note. This is a segment I like to call UFO Up, where I get across some UFO footage and I let you be the judge and tell me what you think, whether it's real or not. Drop your comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Let's get the message out. Higgins Lounge. Check this out. This is a video from 2013 of a kid who was on a plane and was filming outside the window, filming a plane flying by next to them outside the window, and caught a UFO, UAP flying right past their window. Tell me what you think.
Whoa, did you see that?
If you hear, listen close enough, they got an airplane flying overhead. What do you think? Think it's real? I think it's real. You know me. I think the UFO thing's real. I think it's not only us. I mean, it's not only interplanetary or interdimensional, but I think we re-engineered that technology and we fly in them things too. Just my opinion. But thank y'all for joining me. Hey, if you have any interesting videos, anything you want to share, hit it in my DM, message me, show me the video, and if you want to talk about it, I will definitely put it up there and talk about it. I don't care. It's all on the table for me. I will not stray away from any conversation. That's the only way we find the truth. Don't believe anything I got to say. Go research it for yourself. You're entitled to your own opinion. We are like assholes. They all got one. So, with that being said, y'all have a wonderful weekend. Peace.
I keep it moving. I keep it